Welcome to Venture Step Podcast, where we discuss entrepreneurship, industry trends, and the occasional book review. Today, this episode might be the same length as the intro, as we're going to be going over podcast milestones and just keeping everyone updated with how the podcast is growing. As you are part of the podcast, and you're a listener, you're an early listener, and you're one of the few. And so I feel that I should, one, keep making podcast episodes every week. Two, keep you updated on how the podcast progresses. Originally, this podcast was supposed to be about the history of autonomous vehicles and how they've progressed to where they are today. But I didn't get to it because I overslept my alarm this morning, as I've been exhausted doing some work around the house, like remodeling, trying to get ready for the next big push to finish my Nana's home. So that's why this episode is just about the podcast milestones and not about the autonomous vehicle history, which is quite interesting. So, and I feel that other people might find it interesting, so I wanted to share it. But before we dive in, I'm Dalton Anderson, your host. My background is a bit of a mix of programming, data science, insurance. Offline, you can find me running, building my side business, or lost in a good book. You can listen to the podcast in video or audio format on YouTube. If audio is more your thing, you can find the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and of course, anywhere else you get your podcasts. The agenda today is podcast wins, kind of a reflection of my first interview and just how the show is doing in general and how I think it affects my personal life. Podcast wins. I'm super excited to say that we've finally crossed a couple weeks ago the 250 download mark of a podcast. And we crossed 21 episodes. 21 episodes, I'm pretty sure, is the 1% of podcasts. So a lot of people, podcasts, I think it's the 1% of podcasts get past. Okay, so it says, according to Forbes, it says 26% of podcasts have more than 10 episodes, and 32% have published more than, okay, it just says the same thing twice. 32% of the podcasts have published 10 or more episodes. And it says, this one says 90% of podcasts don't publish more than 3 episodes. So apparently that's 1.8 million people. And this is data as of 2 years ago. Of the 200,000 people left, 90% of them will quit after 20 episodes. So it's another 180,000 gone. To be a top 1% podcast, you need to publish in the world, for episodes at least, on production, you need to publish 21 episodes of your podcast. And I think the gist of it is, and a lot of things in life is, a lot of things that you are passionate about or that you're willing to do, it's not about skill. It's more about attitude and having the right thought process and approach and knowing when things aren't going to be a short-term turnaround and have this long-term mindset towards growth and improving and getting better. Because the majority of your competition just isn't showing up day to day. And so all you have to do is show up and have a good attitude and a good approach and willing to learn. I'm not your dad or your mom, but maybe you need to hear that. You might have been a little down on things not going right, and that might cheer you up. But that's big. That's big. So basically 2 million people quit before they get to 21 episodes. And of the 21 episodes, the hosts after 21 episodes, 20,000 podcasters. That's really not that many people. That's such a few amount. And I think a lot of, I follow these podcast forums, and a lot of them are so concerned with the numbers. And I know it's funny because I'm talking about the numbers and how it's cool. But I never expected people to listen to the episode. It's more of me putting out this stuff, creating content instead of just consuming. I just wanted to provide something and be able to improve my speaking skills and my presentations and live demos. and enforce good habits upon myself, learning constantly every week and having that pressure to perform and create an episode. This week I failed, unfortunately, but I'm still making the episode and hopefully this is still valuable. Where I was getting with that is you just have to show up and have a good attitude. That's it. And I'm talking about the numbers because they're interesting, but I never had the expectation of people listening. Like, only person I really expected to listen was my mom and my Nana, and that's it. So anything over 2 listeners is huge for me. I'm like, wow, these are people I don't know. And when I look at the country list, it's like 30 different countries, people all across the world. It's insane to think that people are find what I'm saying interesting. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate listening to the episodes, and more to come there. That was the downloads on YouTube. And this is kind of wishy-washy, but on YouTube, I have just over 10,000 views. And so majority of those views are coming from YouTube Shorts, and I'm using YouTube Shorts to kind of poke at people, kind of an ad, like an ad of awareness. I'm not running ads, but think about it as an ad. Like, it's just like a slight nudge. Like, hey, like, watch this. Hey, I'm here. This is what I'm talking about. So on YouTube, just over 10,000, and I think it's at 10,556 or something. I don't recall the exact number, but over 10,000. Who cares? It's not important. And on Facebook, have a reach of just over 7,500, 7,500 on YouTube, combined with combined with Facebook and Instagram. So it's pretty cool. I'm honestly flabbergasted that people listen to Venture Set podcasts and myself. It's super cool. I'm super excited. If you can see the video of me, I'm just smiling. I think it's insane that people are listening to the episodes. But that's the mindset you got to have when you're first starting something out, and it's a long-term thing. Like, if you do a business or you do something and you're going against the grain of what's considered the norm in society, there's going to be a lot of judgment, and there's going to be a lot of, let's say, like, combatant support, maybe is the right word. Like, they're not telling you can't do it, but they're not supporting you and not being encouraging and wishing for your downfall, and you just gotta just grind through and just appreciate those times and the challenges and the learnings that come with it. Because I started the podcast when I was in college, and I fell off from doing it because the first thing I did was I did an interview as my first episode, which is wild because it was difficult. And the second interview was difficult with Risa. And so I didn't have the right setup. I thought that I needed a nice mic, and I thought that, why would people listen to me and all these other things, when really you just gotta get started and get after it and publish episodes. It'd be crazy how big the podcast would be if I was publishing episodes for 4 years straight or something like that. Who knows? We'll never know. But we could know from 4 years from now when I keep publishing episodes, and we'll see from there. But for this kind of thing, I'm giving it 2 years. In 2 years' time from when I originally started publishing episodes a couple months ago, I'm going to readdress or reevaluate if I want to keep doing the podcast. I'm pretty sure the answer is going to be yes, but having that gauge, okay, like within 2 years from now, we'll see where we're at and whether I still enjoy it. Does it feel like a chore? Do I feel like I'm providing value to society with these episodes? Do people find it entertaining? All those things. It's not a numbers thing. It's like, oh, well, if I don't have 10,000 downloads in 2 years, then I'm not doing it anymore. There's other metrics that you can measure this to. And so that's what I plan on doing in 2 years. My first interview on the new show, not necessarily new show, but I guess the revival of the show. Quite interesting. It's so difficult to interview. You have to prepare. the episode properly. You need to get your guests to be comfortable. It's a bit odd. I don't think people have issues with like Zoom meetings or Teams meetings because they do it all the time. But as soon as you say, okay, we're going to do a recording, it's live, and we're going to sorry, I was getting a phone call mid podcast episode. I did silence it. And we're going to record it, and it's going to be live, and people start thinking about, oh, what if I make a mistake? If I say words or jumble my sentences, they start to kind of freak out a little bit. And so you got to try to calm them down and get them settled, and then start the episode, hopefully, and ensure them like, hey, if you make any mistakes, like we can just edit it out. Like it's no big deal. But it is quite interesting to try to guide the guest in the right direction. I think that's a skill that takes a while to learn. And the only way to really learn that is to do it. So I need more episodes and more guests on the show. One thing that I need to get better at is scheduling the episode week in advance. Like I should have probably 3 entrepreneurs scheduled already months in advance. So each one be like 2 months in advance. And then things come up, I could switch something out. But right now I'm kind of just doing it week by week, and that's not the way to do it because things come up. Like I was trying to do that episode of Risa a couple times, but she had events that came up. I had events that came up. And so if you couldn't make that one day for that section, then it might delay you a week because everyone else has things going on. You've got stuff going on, both busy. And so that was causing issues. So I need to get a better schedule for planning for guests on the show. And it doesn't have to be entrepreneurs only. I would like to get maybe leaders, researchers. One thing I would love to get for the episode or for the podcast, I would like to get an episode with someone who is a scientist that uses CRISPR, because I felt like I didn't properly explain, and I told you I couldn't because I'm not a geneticist, the CRISPR episode, and I really wanted to have an episode that goes more in depth, like how you use this service and why it's so revolutionary for their work and how much time it saves and some of the stuff that you can do and what to look for and what their thoughts are. Because I don't have any thoughts because I don't know how to use it and I don't know how to explain it. And it would take me too much time to research it. I started reading papers about it, and I was like, what? This is so far out of my wheelhouse. I can't do 30 hours of research to do a podcast episode. I can, but I figured people love to nerd out about things they're passionate about. And so it'd be great to get a scientist on the show to talk about CRISPR. I thought that's been on my mind since the episode. So I'm going to try to get that done. I'm going to go to some internet forums and see. If you have a suggestion of someone to reach out to, by all means, I'll get that done. Update. Right now, I am making a big push to finish my Nana's house. So we're going to do some new lights. So the lights are going to be a little different. We're going to do hi-hats in my room, the closets, the bathrooms, my Nana's room, the living room, the dining room, and the laundry room. And we're going to do some installation, and we're going to redo the bathroom valves in the bathrooms so I can put in a new, I guess, like shower set, shower trim. Basically, the home was so old that the valves that you tie like your knob to, like your shower knob, that's hooked up to a valve. And those valves are normally by a company. So like if you had a Moen valve, if you had a Delta valve from way back when, they'll make trims for it, but you can really only use the trims that are assigned to that valve. And if your valve is super old, you won't have any trim options. That's basically what I ran into because I tried to update it. And I had 2 options, and both of them were straight out of the 60s. So I'm like, oh, well, let's just update the valve. And that's where we're at here. And I purchased closets for my closet, my Nana's closet, the hallway closet, and not the living room, the laundry room. That'd be a weird place to put a closet. The laundry room. So I'm going to do that. And I painted my Nana's bathroom actually, also in my bathroom. So I'm going to do those things. Some of that I'm paying for, or I'm doing the closets. I'm paying to do the installation and the lights and stuff like that. But once those things are completed, then I can sit on top of my throne, my castle, and just watch life go by. And I could just relax in my kingdom. And actually, I have to do the backsplash myself. But other than that, I'll be able to relax. And it's not like I don't like doing it. It's really fun. So it's not like a relaxed thing. It's more of a joke. If Nana's listening. But that's what I've been up to. And yeah, I've been trying to really push hard to get the bathroom done. And so I've been staying up late, getting up early. And I set an alarm today to do the episode about the autonomous vehicle history. And I just ran out of time where I couldn't wake up. I set 2 alarms. I slept through them. I normally don't sleep through alarms. And I woke up and I had to work. And then I had after work, I had to go to Home Depot, get all the supplies because the guy starts tomorrow. And so I was really tight on time. I wanted to get an episode to everyone for tomorrow. And maybe you love hearing me ramble on, maybe not so much, but I appreciate you as a listener. And I just wanted to give you a quick update. And I promise that the next episode will be a little bit meatier. But until then, take care. Talk to you soon. Talk to you next week. And of course, have a great day, a good afternoon, or a good evening, nighty night, good morning, or wherever you are in this world. I hope to hear you next week. Bye.